Hey guys, how's it going? So today's topic, I just want to talk briefly about the topic of hell. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Seventh-day Adventist. So we have a bit of a unique view on hell compared to other Protestant and certainly Catholic religions. So I just want to talk to you guys kind of about why we have the belief system that we do with regards to hell. And if you're someone that's always struggled with the concept of God burning people forever, then maybe this will help you. So basically, there's a lot of verses in the Bible referring to hell as the lake of fire. The famous verse about the gnashing of teeth, at the end times. So we kind of have created a concept of we view hell as a burning, and certainly there's many verses that explicitly state that hell is eternal. So that's where we've kind of, as a theology, we've Christians, we've kind of combined this references to hell being fiery, and many references to it being eternal as God burning people forever. So certainly, if you interpret all those passages literally and you kind of put them together, it certainly does look like God is burning people in a fire forever. So the reason why our church has a different stance is because one, those two things are never explicitly really combined in the Bible. There's references to it being eternal and there's references to it being fiery. But it doesn't really explicitly spell out that that is exactly how it's going to be. But it certainly does infer it. I'll be the first to say that. If you're reading it literally, it does certainly infer that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is it doesn't really align with the character and the loving nature of God and Jesus that is revealed in the Bible, unless you have a very connected version of justice and love. If you view that being just in terms of giving people what they deserve is being loving, then you can get behind that doctrine that God burning people forever in hell is just because that's what they've deserved. But personally, and our religion has a bit of a problem with that, is saying that God isn't really one to throughout the Bible and through the revelation of Jesus to be punishing people. He more just sadly kind of has to accept that some people have natural consequences that they brought upon themselves. So that's kind of like the way that God and Jesus operated throughout the Bible. So it kind of raises the question, like, why is our biblical interpretation of hell kind of different in that regard? Why does God and Jesus kind of let natural consequences happen to people and they're sad about it and they clearly don't want it to happen, but it's just people's choice, they have to let it happen? Or now all of a sudden it's become something that God is doing to people, it's a punishment. So really that's what it comes down to, those two things. So if you're asking for, okay, well, what is a specific doctrine or a theological explanation for the lake of fire and the references to it being eternal? So our view is that basically at the end times, people that have seen all the revelation, even at the end, like when God comes back and we're all there. At the end times, people will see, God existed, God is real, He is love, and everyone will kind of know and see the truth. The peoples that have been blinded by Satan's lies, the truth will be revealed. The veil will be pulled back, and even then, there will be some people that will choose to reject God. So at that point, people that want to disconnect themselves from being with God, then they can choose to just be eternally gone. So it'll just be a quick, eternal death, whether that be, they're just consumed and it's like a fire, whatever it is. I would like to think that they're not, experiencing the pain of flames like you would here on earth if you were in a fire, but We just believe it would just be a quick, okay, you're disconnected from God, so be it. And then it's in that way it's eternal. You're eternally disconnected from God, and that was your choice. So in that way, of course, we believe that God doesn't want that to happen, but He has to respect everyone's free will. So as far as the Catholic view of hell, where it's more, basically nobody is perfect, and everyone goes to purgatory if they weren't, perfectly confessed of their sins at the time of their death. And you can kind of do different, prayers and rosaries. In the old days, the Middle Ages, you could pay, indulgences to try to get them out of purgatory. We don't believe that there's any biblical backing for that. So at that point, we believe once you die, you don't have to be, perfectly confessed or anything like that the moment you die. It's about your belief in God. Did you have a relationship with God? Did you believe in Him? And at the end times, if you choose to be with God, you reaffirm that decision, you're going to be in heaven. If you choose to disconnect from God, He's going to respect your choice and you'll be gone eternally, but we don't believe there's going to be eternal flame. So if you're looking at those verses that talk about, the lake of fire and the gnashing of teeth and the eternity, of that decision, that's what we believe. It's going to be a painful decision, that we believe isn't in your best interest, but it's not going to be, some sort of painful punishment for eternity coming from God. That's not the character that has been revealed, throughout the Bible, and through the revelation of the life of Jesus. So I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions about, hell or, struggling with that, if you just had a loved one die that you felt wasn't, in a relationship with God and you're really struggling with that, are they in hell? Are they in purgatory? Feel free to leave a comment, we can discuss. But thank you guys so much. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. God bless.